Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's talk about the practical issues associated with the toxicity of different pollutants. As we talked before in previous lessons as well, we cannot tell how a pollutant will behave in the environment just based on its chemical structure, because there are so many different parameters going on in the environment that will define the toxicity of any pollutant when it is introduced in that environment. So, whenever a toxic compound is introduced in the environment, obviously, if it survives there and it starts its mode of action and it starts causing different types of toxicities, it can either affect the living organism directly or indirectly. Now, let's see how that can happen. When it affects a living organism directly, it means that the pollutant is actually interacting with the living organism by itself and is causing the harmful effect directly by interacting with different substances, different molecules present in that living organism. For example, a pollutant can interact with certain enzymes of a living organism and therefore can damage the structure of that enzyme or can cause disturbance in the biochemical reactions which that enzyme is operating. So that's how a pollutant can directly affect any living organism. On the other hand, instead of causing direct harm to the living organism, a pollutant can trigger a secondary reaction in the living organism instead of being part of the final toxicity by itself. We know there are so many allergic reactions which are caused by so many different antigens, and all those pollutants basically they are causing allergic reactions indirectly. They are not directly involved in causing these reactions, but they actually are involved in triggering that reaction. So yes, both types of toxicities exist, direct and indirect as well. Now, as we discussed in previous lessons as well, there is much significance of natural cycles of ecosystems of environment. Why so? Because as we discussed, nature itself is very precise, is very automatic kind of. It has so many different efficient cycles that operate day and night, and they are sufficient enough to deal with the minor problems that occur in the environment. There are so many cycles that operate, for example, water cycle, carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, and so many other cycles as well. However, if these cycles are disturbed, if the nature, if the ecosystem, if the environment is not in its original form anymore, obviously that environment will not be able to deal with the minor problems that keep occurring in the environment. Obviously, it is hard to find any pristine, any original environment these days, but still we can find many environments, many ecosystems which are almost near to be perfect. In many aspects, the functional toxicity of a pollution event is often no more than the adverse aspect of this same coin, just an overburdening of the existing innate system. अक्सर ये होता है कि जो प्रॉब्लम आ रही है सामने पोल्यूशन की, वो कोई नई चीज़ नहीं होती, वो एनवायरनमेंट में पहले से पाई जाती है. बहुत सारे ऐसे कंपाउंड्स हैं विच आर ऑलरेडी प्रेजेंट इन द एनवायरनमेंट. हाउएवर, first, these are present in low concentration, and second, the low concentration is easily dealt with the natural cycles that operate in the environment which are almost in their natural form. So ये कोई कई बहुत से पोल्यूटेंट्स ऐसे हैं जो कि कोई सिंथेटिक नहीं है, कोई नई नहीं है एनवायरनमेंट में, लेकिन वो ऑलरेडी एनवायरनमेंट उनको खुद से डील कर रही है. However, there can be some inability of the environment to deal with these compounds, with these toxic elements. That inability can arise due to different factors, especially due to different human activities. उसकी वजह से natural cycles disturb हो सकते हैं और the ecosystem, the environment might not be able anymore to deal with these problems which it was doing before. So both things are there. First, the pollutant which was already there and the environment was dealing with it, and second, now the environment is no longer functional or its natural cycles have been disturbed, so it is no more able to deal with that pollutant. A thing to note here is that a normal substance can also sometimes behave as a pollutant under certain circumstances. So again, same thing that we discussed in our previous lessons, it is not easy to classify pollutants. For example, metals. There are so many metals present in the environment, and there are so many metals which are also required for normal functioning of life. Obviously, they are required in much low concentration. We all know that many metals serve as coenzymes for so many different enzymes, and they are part of so many different vital reactions. However, only a certain threshold level of these metals are required by living organisms. And if the living organisms are exposed with high concentrations of these metals, the living organisms will not survive, because this high concentration of metals is toxic to life. Under normal circumstances, processes of weathering, erosion and volcanic activity lead to continuous release of the metals in the environment. हमने पहले भी बात की, ये metals environment में already पाए जाते हैं और environment से ही release हो रहे हैं due to different natural processes which are, some of them have been mentioned here. For example, weathering of the rocks, erosion and volcanic activity. So ये already है environment में और natural processes से ही ये release हो रहे हैं environment से, environment में ही आ रहे हैं. तो ये पहले कहाँ थे? पहले environment was much more suffice and was much more pristine, और natural cycles बहुत बेहतर operate करते थे, and the metals problem was being dealt naturally. However, nowadays we are unable to find perfectly operating natural environments. The natural cycles have been disturbed in almost all the environments, and therefore these metals, which are obviously naturally present, now these are not be able to be dealt in natural fashions. So the concentration of these metals are on increase nowadays, and ultimately many of these metals have found their way into the drinking waters, and therefore they have started to affect the quality of the life. Corresponding natural mechanisms exist to remove them from circulation at a broadly equivalent rate. We discussed that there are so many natural cycles which already are present there, which can circulate these toxic compounds in the environment, and therefore the living systems are not exposed to these problems. However, there are so many different human activities which have caused the problems, especially industrialization. Due to so much industrialization, what is happening now that industries are releasing these metals as well, and due to the pollution caused by these industries, due to urbanization, the ecosystem and the natural cycles of the environments have also been disturbed. So both things are there. First, due to human activities, the metals and other such toxic compounds are being introduced in the environment, and second, the natural cycles have been disturbed as well. So both things contribute towards the toxicity and towards the pollution of these metals in the environment. So you can see here that due to different human activities, the normal cycles have been disturbed, and therefore the problems that were previously easily dealt by natural processes are no longer being dealt, and therefore now we have so many different ideas and strategies that how we can remediate these problems. I will see you in next lesson.